everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another episode of Delve Requisite here on Proficiency Bonus. I am joined this week with the Fool's Errant, one of our two groups in our Delve Requisite campaign. Before we get a jump on tonight's episode, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors here at Proficiency Bonus, Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle Games. Little Dragon Corp, you can get a link to their website by typing !Little Dragon in the chat at any point during tonight's stream. They are a purveyor of fine polyhedral tabletop gaming dice, such as my world-renowned invisible green screen dice that I have here. If you check their website out and find a set of dice that appeals to you that you're interested in, feel free to use our code BONUS at checkout for 15% off of your order. Our other sponsor, Cardboard Castle Games, you can get a link to their website by typing !CCG in chat at any point during tonight's stream. They are a brick and mortar tabletop gaming store, but if you are not local to Evans, Georgia, which is where their physical location is, if you're not, they have a robust website that you can order all of your tabletop RPG and card game needs from. So thank you to Little Cardboard Castle, Little Dragon Corp, and Cardboard Castle. That's what happens when our two sponsors put the fusion earrings on and do the dance. Thank you to both of them for sponsoring us here at Proficiency Bonus. And without any further ado, let's play some Dungeons and Dragons. You guys, the Fool's Errant, you are in the city of Terra Libra. You have recently acquired a new party member, Zintris, who is, much like Brahm, also an not quite ex-member of the Brotherhood of Artanis, but Brotherhood of Artanis adjacent individual, who has sort of put you guys on to the possibility that there is a Brotherhood of Artanis general, known as Lohengrin, the code name Lohengrin, who had tried to defect and is currently locked away in an Ignian prison. What?
You mean you said Lohengrin, it's Ukraine.
Ukraine, sorry, Lohengrin's a different one.
Your generals.
I am confusing my generals, sorry. All these Arthurian names. Ukraine, sorry. Ukraine is locked away in the Ignian prison known as the Estelgath. The sort of burgeoning plan there being like, okay, well, let's figure out how to break into the Estelgath and go get this person out. We left last session with you guys meeting up in the back in Ladria's Keep, where the bookkeepers, apparently via some more, as always, meddling from Tori and Idrian, have had some people to link you up with that could potentially help you in the pursuit of that goal of getting into the Estelgath and back out with someone. Those someones turned out to be none other than Rogers and the boys, the trio of relic hunters that the Fool's Errant had tangled with way back in Stone Mill at the beginning of your adventure. As a refresher for anybody who needs it, Rogers and the boys consist of three members. Rogers, the leader of the group, Carlisle, the muscle of the group, and Rana, the maybe brains of the group, but certainly the feminine mystique of the group, as Rana is in fact a girl instead of a boy. The three of them kind of like busted into the chamber here, and that is where we left things off, and that is where we're going to pick things up today. Right with, I think the sequence of statements was like, we have someone who may be able to help you with this, to which Walter went, oh, it's not Rogers and the boys, do you think, is it? To which a door got kicked open, and you heard, well, look what the cat dragged in. And Rogers and the boys entered the chamber.
That's Fireball.
Osrius is like, damn it, I'm a barbarian.
Even before he even says anything, I see the face and just immediately, don't we have like a Fireball necklace actually?
No, we
that's
had a
Fireball
fireball
that
that
killed
was
you.
used against
Oh
us.
yeah, that's right. We've already done that. Never mind. I reach for it
Alar
and
will
then know
let
it's
out
gone.
a quiet but very rich curse in Draconic. He's gonna go over at Torin Andrian. This means we're still on one of the paths, right?
he goes,
Right.
and then he like drops the axe for us.
Like,
For
what
a
the
second.
hell does this mean?
He does that, and he goes like, yes.
And Alar just sighs,
Great.
reaches it into his coat, pulls out a hand crossbow, pulls out the quiver of bolts, sets them down. I believe these were yours.
We won that fair and square.
For the first time in any of your encounters with this trio, from like beneath the depths of her hood, Rana shows like a emotion that could be construed as like a positive one. She looks happier to see this crossbow than like any encounter that you have had with the three of these people beforehand. And she says, kind of quietly, she says, "I had thought that it would have been long gone by now. I am very grateful that it is still in your possession."
It has served me well, and I am, in this case, happy to return it to you.
She comes forward and like collects the crossbow. Torian Idrian is here. There is a member of the council here at present. I believe. Let me check my notes here. I want to say
We have the Conjurer and the Enchanter here.
I was gonna say, I think it was yellow and pink. I don't know why I thought those two colors, but I think that's yeah.
Conjurer and Enchanter, and then Torian, I guess.
And then Torian. I'm just double checking my. The Enchanter. I have a set of notes that tells me like which character the various members are, and like I had to go double check which one was supposed to talk. The Enchanter says through their like illusory visage, says, "I will admit that I am not entirely illuminated on the nature of your relation to these individuals or what knowledge they or you or anyone has that is going to help you in your future endeavors. But it is my suggestion to you that before your conversation progresses any further, you leave Ladrius Keep. Even better if you leave Terra Libra and get on the road. Thus far, our intelligence does not suggest that this Brotherhood of Artanis has infiltrated the Ordinum Librae's inner ranks, but your encounter in the city several days ago clearly indicates that the Brotherhood is capable and exercising the ability to place its agents inside the city. My belief is that your actions, your plans, your progression forward with the task that we have come to a common goal on be executed with as little outside knowledge as possible. Do not leave opportunity for anyone in this chamber or anyone somehow listening to hear any of your discussion.
Very well. I just need to collect something, and then we'll be. I'll be set to go.
I also have to collect something. Some things.
Rogers goes in and is like, Okay, all right. We did wait in that room for like 45 minutes in order to make a cool, dramatic entrance, but I suppose whatever. Would you people care to set a rendezvous time and point so that we can continue this tete-a-tete at another time, and you can finish your business in the city?
Give us an hour and meet us at the entrance.
An hour at the, I presume, East Gate?
East Gate.
Sure.
Okay, fare thee well, dipshits. And he let's go, boys. And he and Carlisle and Rana head back out of the chamber and leave.
Well, that was hurtful.
Draconic to Alar.
Why
What
do
is
they have to be
his
so mean?
damage? What did y'all do to him?
Beat him practically to death.
Oh, we killed him.
Yeah, DM
No,
point of
this isn't
clarification. You did accidentally kill
Yeah,
him
we killed
and brought him
killed
back to
him.
life.
Well, that's what I mean by practically to death. They were a
Relic hunters.
relic hunting group that was operating in a town where we first gathered. They stole an artifact from a dwarven crypt.
Are you
Yes.
still saying this in Draconic to her?
Yes.
Okay.
We proceeded to ask them to return it. They said no. We beat the shit out of two of them. Pretty much killed Rogers, then revived him. We got the artifact. I collected the tiefling's hand crossbow. And we left.
Still in Draconic to Alar. I guess it's glad you guys kind of like me. And I stand up from the table and get ready to go do our business that we have
Alar
to
just
do.
starts chuckling a little bit. And in comment, yes, we like you a lot more than them.
I don't think it's a very high bar though, so that doesn't make me feel very good about myself. We'll get
Trust
there.
us,
It's
right,
fine.
yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. I don't really like you guys either yet. All it's been is fighting and
Can't even do
yelling.
anything.
It's fine.
That's about 75 to 80% of what we do. Also, Brahm pulling zany shit.
Fair.
And war crimes.
Speaking of zany shit and war crimes, to my recollection of what we have to wrap up before you guys can move on without leaving loose ends here. We have 3 scenes that we need to play out. One with Brahm, one with Walter, one with Alar. You guys all have stuff that you need to get back from somebody to then go.
Yep.
I do not believe either Zintris or Osrius have things in the work right now. The other 3 of you gave a magical item or a whatever, are waiting on something to come back from somebody. Osrius, you have your stuff that you collected from the Ordinum. Zintris, you don't have much going on because you've just kind of been following them.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, so then we'll do 3 quick scenes here to address each of those situations.
Can we just hand wave Zintris going to the library and getting any information on Grimalkins? Because after that whole weirdness, she's a little. I need research.
Roll a d20. Make a let's call this an Arcana check.
Okay. 12. It's not great.
Okay, you find through the help of some of the stewards, some of the librarians there, you find some books on Fae creatures that have been written by some of the members of the Ordinum over the years. So you have a couple of books, and you'll be able to peruse them as time goes on. I was gonna do Russell's scene first, but as he is apparently getting up to answer a phone call of some sort, we will shift gears. Let's handle Walter first. I think yours is pretty straightforward. Walter, you head back to Sears, where Nuri Rattlesnap has agreed to look at that sort of spell with you. As you kind of head back there, you head into the shop, and As you come in, she kind of like peeks her head from around the back room and sees that it's you. She goes, "Oh, very good. Yes, I just finished with all this." She says, "Come here, come to the back. Let's take a look at this together."
Yep.
And as you
I'll head over.
Yep, as you make your way to the back, she's back there. You see that this is kind of like a little like workshop space that she has. There's a bunch of like little trinkets and doodads and mabobs that are used for the various tinkerings that she does. You see there's like a half disassembled Broomba here that she has been working on, but she has like her main workspace cleared, and there is a large like scroll of paper upon which you can see a formulae that is different, but you recognize enough of it to see that like the base components of it are similar to what you brought to her in the first place. This like earth molding spell. So she sort of like brings it over to you, and she says, yeah, all right. So here's what I've worked out. I think I've modified the spells components, the sort of kinetic input, and the terraforming nature of it to move Earth and join the two. And I've modified it in a way that is less about sort of a permanent fixture and a large input towards a single point, and it should be something that allows you to manipulate it and cast it in a certain direction. Not necessarily as useful as some of your more standard issue offensive spells, but if you need to drill your way through a stone wall for some reason, definitely something that'll come in handy. She kind of like lays this out with you, and then I think we do like sort of we see like a montage of her kind of like going over the construction of this spell with you, and you sort of like asking some questions, and her showing you like material components that you will need and stuff like that. And at the end of this, you come away with a custom spell that is at this point unique in the world to only you and Nuri Rattlesnap. And I think you did send that to me a while back. Did you give it a name, Jason?
Probably. D&D Beyond. Homebrew stuff over here. Homebrew collection. Not
Excavate,
Alistair's
I think is
Fireball.
what you named it.
Yes, that's the one.
So you now have access to the spell Excavate.
Right. I will add it to my.
We'll sort of see that in action when it comes up, but you can add that to your spell list. As you are in there, you have at this point collected your items from the from Boris Volodov. And she kind of like just notices them as you guys are messing with the spells components, and she says, "Far be it from me to meddle out of turn, but I think I can make your current array of equipment a little more efficient, Mr. Gray. Would you allow me a bit of tinkering?"
I would be honored. And I'll just like.
She
Yeah,
says,
what do you need?
she says, "Please then, your shovel, that fabulous staff, and that rather peculiar rod at your hip."
Sure. I'm gonna look around. Is there anything? Not that Walter specifically. Well, he probably might know about it. Is there anything that's labeled Sovereign Glue anywhere around here?
Make a perception check.
I want to know how much redneck engineering is going on here. How's a 24 do?
It does great. You see the label for Sovereign Glue just before it is obscured by Nuri Rattlesnap's hand as she grabs that exact fucking bottle and she goes, sets it down on the table. And she goes, "All right." She like cracks her knuckles. She goes, "Let's see what we can do." And she then proceeds to take a small hammer, and she like knocks the rough-hewn nail that holds the head of your shovel onto its haft. Like, knocks that out of place, takes the like handle of your shovel, and kind of like throws it over her shoulder. She then takes the Voyager staff, like smacks it onto the table. She looks at the like rune work across it and the like interlocked rotating rings that make up the like coordinate setting capacity of this staff. She adjusts them into a very specific pattern, and then she takes a small chisel and like knocks a couple of like modifications to the rune work to it, and then like stuffs the end of the Voyager staff back into the like the metal casing of the shovel head, and takes the rough hewn nail and a hammer and just like bangs it back in. She then flips it over, takes that rod of the Pact Keeper that you had, and she like places it. She places like the head of the butt end of your shovel's like handle down on the ground and puts this rod next to it. And she goes over into like a cupboard and brings out some like different components, some like metal and wood scraps. She kind of like arranges them in this loose configuration. And then she like rubs her hands together and places her hand over it and casts a transmutation that like she doesn't seem to need to like vocalize in any way. She just seems to be able to do it by like touching this stuff. And this like loose configuration of like materials and components reforms themselves into one solid like handle. So your shovel now has like one of those, you know, like this shaped handles on the back of it, where if you were going to like shove it in, with the like the handle portion of that being the rod of the Pact Keeper.
Right.
She like looks at the shovel and she goes, "Are you afraid of heights?"
Not particularly.
"Oh, good." And she puts the shovel back down, and she like reaches into a drawer and takes like a feather and places it on the middle of the handle of the shovel. And as it like lays there, she then like snaps her fingers, and two like one bolt of like fire and one bolt of lightning come from each of her fingers and go like. And have you ever seen those videos of where they like burn feathers onto pottery? It looks like that onto like the haft of the staff, and she goes, "That'll do," and she hands it back to you.
Well, it's fancier now. Can I have that handle back? That's a little sentimental. I carved it myself about 2 decades ago.
She uses Mage Hand to like pick it up off the floor where she threw it. She goes, "There you go."
Thank you. Not the most important part, but it does have meaning. Much appreciated.
Certainly still a hefty piece of wood. You can definitely hit someone with it if you need to.
Well, yeah. Always plan B. Do you have a is this a I have to figure it out myself kind of deal, or do you happen to have a rundown list of what this will do?
She goes, "Okay, so you know what the shovel did before?"
Yes, it's very good at digging things.
Dug, and it hit people. You know what the staff did before, in a general sense.
It came with instructions, yes.
Yes. And you know what the rod was intended to do, though you will still need to, in delicate terms, talk to your boss about it.
Fair, yes.
Your shovel now does all of that. Oh, and also it flies.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Yes? Well,
Yeah,
now
no, that's pretty much it.
No, that's a lot. I appreciate. Thank you. Hey, what does this coat do again?
The cloak. It's a cloak of useful items.
It is.
Each of those patches has been imbued with a bit of magic that has a much larger item that would fit inside a patch of cloth stored within it, and all you need to do is draw it out.
All right. Well, I will start They'll do that when the time arises. Sounds great. Thank you so much. I will away on my shovel then. Is there a command word for making this? Is it shovel away? It is shovel away. Did you make it shovel away?
She, you like say it, and she looks at the staff. She goes, "Well, yeah. I mean, now it is. Yeah. So
Okay.
hopefully
shovel
that's
away.
what you wanted, because that's what it is now.
Shovel away, and then I'll just like
You said it.
fly out the door.
You shovel
Is this
away.
a close?
And
Yeah, I'm gonna.
the shovel goes like.
burst.
You wrestle it back into position. And
yeah,
you
go ahead.
fly out the door. Meanwhile, Alar, you.
Oh, if sufficient time has passed, I've run by Volodov's place to reclaim the original collapsible rapier. If time hasn't
Yeah,
passed,
that's
then
fine. He can give that back to you, no problem.
Okay.
You had you had received a message earlier on that, like, before you leave the city, just Dimios wanted to have a quick check-in with you. So you head up to the apartment of the Collective of the Arcane Eye. Stanfield opens the door, as is per usual. As he sees you, he says,
Master Ayla, you have been expected. Please, come in, come in.
Thank you, Stanfield. Sorry it took so long, but business.
He says, of course, you are undoubtedly on incredibly important business. He says, please sit, make yourself comfortable. I shall fix something to eat and drink. Master Dimios is just in the other room. I'll send him in.
Something small at most. I'm unfortunately pressed for time.
Of course, sir, of course.
Thank you.
He heads out of the room. A few minutes later, Dimios comes in. He is, as always, in his standard set of robes. He has the glove that you know covers that you now know covers the cursed blackened hand on his one arm. And he has in his good hand he has a book with him. It is bound with a length of this sort of tangerine colored silk that is bound around it and tied in this intricate knot. He comes in, he sort of sits it down on a table between the two of you, and he says, the rumor mill here in Terra Libra is incredibly active. The specifics elude me, though I believe I have a fairly good idea of what is going on, considering you and your friends have had several top-secret meetings in my sitting room over the past few days.
And thank you for that, by the way, Master Dimios.
He says, think nothing of it. Our apartments will always be open to stay. But I hear that you are off on a rather monumentous task, and that it will be no doubt filled with treachery and not inconsiderate amount of danger.
Pretty accurate.
He kind of nods. He says, well, we've spent some time together, training. I as I promised you, I would teach you the art of blade singing as it was taught to me many years ago. And you have been progressing. Perhaps you would not be... it might surprise you that you are progressing more rapidly than you might think. The art of blade singing is a frustrating one. It is one that, unlike wielding a sword or casting a simple spell or any other skill or professional task, it is not one that is prone to showing incremental progression. It is one at which you fail miserably and completely until the precise moment that you succeed. So,
That is terribly relieving.
This is considering that you are destined to leave the city and the nature of current events suggest that it may be some time before you are able to return again. It seems perhaps that our lessons may be forestalled for some time. But not only do you have a talent that I think is worth exploring, you have a need which I think will be well suited to the continuation of practice, even if you and I cannot continue our sessions. And so I am giving you this. And he slides that ornate book across the gap between you. He says, this is an arcane grimoire. It is enchanted. There are numerous benefits to this item that you will find, I very much hope, extremely useful on your travels. Also contained within it are a series of forms and practices that will assist you in further developing your progression towards the art of blade singing.
I don't know what to say.
You need say nothing. I wish only to impress upon you the fact that this book is the only of its kind in existence that I am aware of. I say this not to grandstand about the impressive nature of my gift, but to impress upon you the importance of protecting it. Keep it safe. If it is destroyed or damaged, it cannot be replaced, and the knowledge in it will be lost forever.
Thank you. I will guard this with my life.
He kind of nods at you and he says, very well. Then, if you would indulge me, perhaps before you leave the city, perhaps we could go through the exercises one final time in the gardens here in Ledger's Keep.
Nothing would bring me more pleasure.
He kind of nods, and sort of the two of you like leave the apartments and head off to do a little bit of blade singing practice before you have to reconvene with the rest of the group in the next hour. Brahm, you are the sort of final scene here to resolve. You head back to Here Comes Treble, the musical shop run by Maestro Eric Leroux. You head back there as you enter. You see that Maestro Leroux is behind the counter. He is currently like winding one of those music boxes. And as you sort of approach, he looks up to you. He sort of closes the music box and withdraws the key, sets it back within its case, and he kind of gestures to you, and he says, I forget what kind of voice he had.
He was kind of vaguely British.
I think he says, "Come, let us retire to the back room, and we shall see what I have completed for you." And as you join him in the back, he uncovers under a like velour piece of fabric your mask of 1,000 faces. And at first you're kind of like struck by this like sense of like catastrophe, as it looks like he has like badly mutilated and damaged your mask. But then you see that he has transformed it. The mask, that sort of like blank harlequin mask, he has essentially cut it in half. Which you took for like the mask having been destroyed and damaged. It is now, instead of covering your entire face, it covers only like the one side of your face and across your nose and down sort of to the side. The seam where he like broke the original porcelain of the mask has been like filled in with this like golden filigree along the break and along the like very small micro fractures that exist along the mask. It thrums with a different sort of power than what you remember feeling from it before. He picks it up and he hands it to you, and he says, "The Mask of 1,000 Faces will work as it did before. But once you have captured the visage of someone inside it from henceforth, you will forever be able to call upon that visage as a disguise around yourself. Bear in mind its limitations exist as they always did. The disguise you put on, stored within the mask, will last you only an hour, and then it will fade. And as always, when you introduce the mask to a new subject, the insight into their mind and their personality that you gain will fade after a time." He holds it out to you.
Take it.
You go to take it, and he, like, lightning quick, his, like, other hand comes up and, like, grabs your wrists and holds you as you're, like, holding this mask in your hand. And he says, "I have chosen to trust you in a way that I have trusted no one since learning my lesson the first time with the Brotherhood. This magic is my masterpiece. Like with any great piece of music, it extracts a toll from us all. Use this with caution. Remember always, it is not a toy. To gain from it, you must take a life. You must commit a terrible, terrible act. Make sure that when you use this mask, the mark that you will carry on your soul is worth it."
Brom will just simply like nod.
And he
Say
like
anything.
releases your hands. He says, "Go now. And if you have more news of the Brotherhood, well, you know where to find me."
So-
Go ahead.
I was gonna say mechanically, like, what is the difference now? Is there
We'll
any-
mess with the mechanics of it. Largely, the mechanics of it is like it will function exactly the same way as it did before, because this is sort of like, weirdly enough, this is an item that is a recrafting of a bardic ability that your class has. So like it still functions the same way it did, but really the only like mechanical difference is that when you use this ability to like steal someone's identity, whereas previously like you had it for a certain period of time and you could like adopt their appearance and like have sort of like a feed in the back of your head that would like tell you things that they knew about, stuff. The knowledge that you can gain from this ability still has the same limitation, which I think is like 24 hours or something like that. However, like when you take somebody's visage, their appearance, you can save it forever.
Oh, okay.
So like the next time you use this thing and you like take somebody's appearance, I'm gonna have you mark on like on your character sheet or whatever, like such and such's appearance, and like forevermore, as long as this item is in your possession, you can adopt the appearance of that person.
But not with their just not with
But
their
not
knowledge.
with, but like after the same amount of time,
Okay.
like the intimate knowledge that you can parse from them does still fade. All right, with that, I cannot think of anything that is like outstanding for you guys in the city here.
I'm all set.
Go.
All right. Then within that hour, you guys kind of do your business. You meet at the east gate of Terra Libra, where you find Rogers, Rana, and Carlisle waiting for you. You guys have your presumably your cart, your 3 horses: Henrietta, Dr. Strongfast, and Hoover. Rana, Carlisle, and Rogers all have their own horses and are waiting at the gate for you. They have like their traveling packs and stuff equipped. And as you guys kind of like ride up, Rogers looks at you and he goes like, "Okay, well here we all are then, ready for our little field trip. Isn't this exciting?"
Sure.
Delightful. Shall we?
Onward we go. And you guys ride east out of Terra Libra. And once you guys are, not very far, a couple of minutes outside the gate away from like other listening ears, Rogers turns to you and he says, "Okay, so the smug guy, what's his fancy pants
Idrian.
Yeah. He told us that the group of you people have a need to get into the Estelgath, and that working with you is an opportunity for us to do the same. So he did not really give us much more information beyond that. So maybe what's up? What are we doing here? What's exactly is the situation?"
You have an interest in getting into the Estelgath as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you just
I
beat up
take
some
it that
guards and you'll
you're-
get there
You're
yourself.
planning on breaking somebody out?
No, not exactly.
Okay.
Breaking in is definitely important, and then getting out instead of staying in there for the rest of our natural lives is part of that plan as well.
As is ours.
He says, "Okay, since
Show of faith. We're going in there to break someone out. A very specific elf woman.
all right,
What was... I apologize, interest. What was her name again?
Cintrus isn't sure if she wants to tell them the call sign.
Lady...
Debbie.
Yeah.
Martha
there were-
Stewart.
Hold on.
Debbie.
House
Like mystery.
Viren,
maybe
or
Debbie.
something, right? She's from House Viren, right, Matt?
Little
Yeah.
Debbie.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm finding the detail.
Roger says, "Okay, quick question, just curiosity. I'm curious." He points, he like gestures towards you, and he's like, "You're off the hook, as I don't remember your face, and I assume you're not involved with what I'm interested in here." He says, that ring. What you doing with it?"
Which one?
"Oh, the one that you murdered me over."
That's when Brom holds up like, which one? All hands.
Cintrus holds up her hand just to be an asshole. She's just like,
He goes, I am calling me curious. We had a rather intense conflict over the moral responsibility of people in our line of work over what to do with artifacts once they were recovered, and I did not come out on top of that conflict, and I am curious as to what became of that particular relic.
I think it's because curiosity killed the cat.
No, I'm actually pretty sure your very short friend's lightning bolt killed the cat. In this specific instance, what the fuck did you do with that ring?
It was returned.
He says, "Okay, Interesting. And so you gave it back to fucking Grumpy the dwarf. Yes.
What's that?
Interesting. To the best of your knowledge, what has he done with it since then?
I wouldn't know.
No. If I might take a gander at take sort of the wild guess, I would bet he put it back in a fucking hole in the ground where it hasn't helped anybody since it went there.
Oops.
Possibly.
He looks like he's about to say something else, and Rana from like her horse goes like, Rogers. And he looks at her and he goes, okay. As you can tell, I'm like a little bit salty that you guys beat the shit out of me and my friends over a ring. And I would still maintain the position that if a magical artifact exists which could be given to certain people who might study it and use those benefits to spread them to the populace at large, and that artifact is instead kept by a crabby dwarf who puts it in a hole, that dwarf and the people that supported that position are shitheads. However, and he seems to be saying that more to Rana than he is to you guys. He's like, however, I will also admit that the moral high grounditude of delivering said goods to the right hands is not super high on my list of priorities so much as it is turning said item into a person who will pay me. So, that being the case, I will step down off of my high horse in the spirit of cooperation, being that it seems like in this instance, we have a common goal towards which we could work. And Rana goes like,
I appreciate your magnanimous gesture. If it will also make you happy, it was studied by several wizards who are currently, and he points back toward Terra Libra, before it was returned.
Also, just to clarify, it was 50%. The shit beating was 50% because of the ring, and 50% because of your attitude about it.
yeah, that seems fair. It seems about accurate. Okay, well, let's why don't we call that water under the bridge?
Agreed.
Hang on, your elvish friend is making a face like she wants to start some shit with me.
If that is water under the bridge, and I was not there for it, so I don't care whether you put it actually under the bridge or you continue to hold a grudge because I wasn't there. My question to you is, you keep alluding to this common goal, and you've said that you want to break in and get out, but you haven't told us what you actually want to do in the prison. And considering that the plan probably requires all of us to cooperate very closely together, I'd like to know what you actually want to do in the prison.
I was getting to that. Thank you, lady.
I was trying to move the conversation along after you guys somewhat buried old hat issues, but
Walter's gonna turn his interest and be like, the only reason this conversation got cut short enough last time is because we actually ended up killing him. So like,
and this one because
be patient.
I point to her. I point to Rana Nigo because she can actually talk sense into him.
We're being patient right now.
Okay.
So you people want to get into the Estelgath because you're trying to break somebody out. Fine. No problem. Okay. The reason I think your friend Tortellini Rumpelstiltskin wanted to get us together was because you probably could use the services of somebody who has been inside and escaped from the Estelgeth before.
Would be helpful.
Alar's
Do you
just
know
going to
anybody?
look between him and Rana,
I'm looking at all three of them.
because he figures one of those two is
I'm looking at all three of them. I have no context for who they are.
Rogers says, in this spirit of camaraderie that we are inhabiting right now, I will share with you this. My dear Rana has familiarity with the inside of the Estelgeth.
the gods. You escaped from the unescapable.
Rana does not respond, and Rogers continues. He says, my dear friend Rana also has a vested interest in evening a score, which can only be done if she can get back into the Estelgeth.
Right?
I smile at Rana really big. Probably the biggest smile you guys have ever seen from me in the last day and a half of knowing each other, however long it's been. And I just go, so we both have scores to settle and people to go after. I think you and I are going to have a lot of fun together.
Rana kind of looks you up and down, as if evaluating you. And after a moment, she says, "There is nothing fun that will happen inside the walls of the Estelgeth."
Need to
She
update
kind
your
of looks.
definition of fun a little.
She looks back towards Rogers, who's kind of watching her, and make an insight check, actually.
Insight check. Do. Insight check.
That was pretty good. What's my number?
That was
Just-
terrible.
Dirty
Just an
20.
8.
8.
Yeah, that's 5.
2 8s, a 20, and a hold on. We gotta reconnect the mouse.
9.
Okay.
So far as interest, we'll give Curtis a moment to deal with the fact that I made him unplug his mouth like a psychopath earlier.
Unplug his mouth.
Yeah, I unplugged his mouth. No.
No. Hold on. It'll get there. Don't worry.
Someone
Boy.
Unplug the internet.
19.
Hey, okay.
Oh, right.
So the 19 to 20. Zintris and Osiris. You guys kind of watch this silent exchange pass between the two of them. You don't get the sense that Rogers is he kind of you see him look to Rana to see is she done speaking before he re-engages with you guys. But you don't get the sense that this is a power dynamic between the two of them where secretly she's in charge of the group type of thing. You kind of read into him. You see there's almost there is a sincerity and a tenderness there in Roger's demeanor towards Rana that is in a different universe from even the remotest aspect in which he has dealt with you guys. You as you watch him watch her, you see that he you see that microsecond wait to confirm that she is done saying what she was gonna say, and she now no longer wants to be the center of attention. And as soon as you see him confirm that, he turns back and re-engages you guys with more obnoxious bullshit. He turns back to you guys and he says, "As I was saying, Rana has a score to settle in the Estelgeth, and none of us really want to spend the rest of our lives locked up in there being tortured endlessly by the sadistic fucks that run the place. Prior to this, no real opportunity had presented itself to act on this need of my accomplice, my associate. But when we came to learn that you psychopaths were going to be attempting it, this seems like the most opportune time to attempt such a thing, as we know firsthand that you are more than just talk. So, if you people need to get into the Estelgath and do whatever it is you're doing there, and whatever it is, I don't likely care. So long as it doesn't interfere with Rana getting in and doing what Rana needs to do, you have our support all the way.
So long as she's not seeking to kill Lady Veerling, we're golden.
How long has your Lady Vienna sausages been in there?
It's been like a month now, a month and a half now, right?
Then you have nothing to worry about.
Wonderful.
No overlap then, I take it.
No.
I will not inquire further.
You get us in, you got an opportunity.
Yes, whoa, hang on. We'll
Get
get
us
you
in
out.
and we help get you out, yes.
Yep, that is
No, no.
also
That's
important.
the deal.
Hang on, you've confused. We
Ah,
are
you're-
going to help you get out. How we get in is your part of the plan.
Fair enough. First things first, we need to get into the Ignian Empire. Fortunately, and with apologies to my companion Brahm, I know a guy.
Well, that's helpful.
And I have a way of contacting him. Alar holds up a scroll. Presuming that
also
he has
helpful.
he has survived the invasion, and he's a tough old bastard, so I'm willing to bet he has. He should be able to help us get across the border and into the Ignian Empire. This is a little bit more complicated than I thought it would be. I figured it'd be tough enough with a party of 5, with 2 somewhat exotic people.
Not to mention the fact that the exact boundaries of what is considered the Ignian Empire are kind of questionable at this exact moment.
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
aware.
hey, as long as your plan does not involve us having to go like south by southwest. Rumor is that's where the Queen's army is gathering, and sort of the war front is going to break out. So, really hope that your plan involves us going sort of north and around Nibiria to get to the Empire's territory.
Well, he operated around the cities of Talmark and Vale, so yeah, I'm looking to get around the encroaching armies. Hopefully, he has a meetup point that puts us away from that, but we'll see. I'll try and contact him when we make camp for the evening.
Fair enough. I guess with that, is there any other like conversation between you guys as players, between you guys and any of the members of Rogers and the Boys, anything like that, as you guys continue your evening of travel?
Yes. Alar will kind of slack back with the other members of the Fools. When I contact Rax, I'm going to be asking about someone. You 3 know that I've mentioned her at least once or twice, but for interest's sake, my mother lived my village a couple days away from Vale, on the my Midlandian side of the border. I got her and a couple of non-elven refugees out when I was younger. You guys may remember I sent a messenger sparrow while we were at Brahm's mentor's place. It was basically to tell her to get out. Well, that was the day before the invasion. I haven't heard word one from her. I'm hoping Rax still might know something. I'm also hoping that a messenger sparrow just appears out of nowhere and I can get a message from her or trolley weather saying that she's arrived, but I doubt it.
I just smile softly at Alar, nod in understanding.
Actually, that's an excellent point. Have any of us received any messenger sparrows of any kind since the invasion?
No. So you guys don't really have a habit of corresponding with people via messenger sparrows, so I don't know that that's a necessarily, like, odd point of contention.
Right. That's. I'm sure she's fine, Alar. It's.
He's smart. I mean,
The world's a big place.
head for figures. But I was sending money to her and to Rax to, keep an eye on her. Haven't heard from either. I imagine he's got, much larger problems with the city that he liked to think that he was the under king of at times, in some of his grander and drunker moments. Is now, well, it's owned by the Ignians.
If you have a reliable way to contact him outside the messenger sparrow network, then
That's what the sending scroll is for. Hopefully, enough of his network is still intact that he can help us get into the Empire. Otherwise, we'll have to trust my at this point, 1.5 to 2 years out of date knowledge of routes, and probably about I'd say half of the Ignian army between us and our target.
You guys kind of ride on through the day and the evening and into the night, and at some point you sort of ride, like, some minor small talk maybe takes place between you guys and Rogers and the boys, but mostly you just head sort of in the direction that will lead you eventually back the way that you had come originally, eventually over the Nivian River to the eastern side of its eastern shore, where you can then circumnavigate north around Niveria and onward towards the border of the Empire. As you guys kind of ride, I think at the sort of like towards the end of that first day, after all of this talking and like planning, how you talk about heists, breaking into Estelgath and smuggling across the border. At some point, Carlisle, the sort of like heavy set, like thick-necked human member of Rogers and the Boys, he kind of like rides up over, sort of near Osrius. As Osrius has kind of like also, much like himself, has also sort of like kept back out of the like scheming talk.
Yeah.
And he kind of like rides up on you, Osrius, for a little bit. And he kind of like rides next to you in silence for a few minutes, and eventually he like looks over. He says like, "Oi."
Oi.
He says, "Your friends seem like my friends. They like to talk a lot."
Azrius like kind of laughs a little bit, like a low chuckle, and he's like, "I was about to say the little one talks too much. The little one of yours talks too much."
He says, "Oh, you're the one with this scraggly, the half-elf lad. He talks too much too." He says, "The green one also talks too much, but at least he plays music."
It's funny how that is, isn't it?
He kind of shakes his head. He says, "Oh, I can't never follow all of this talk that they got. I'll just sit back till something needs punching. Simple that. I
Yeah.
don't know what to do."
I'm gonna look over at him, like kind of like stone-eyed, but like a little, like just like a little look of like, huh, in my eyes of being like, you know, traveling for a while. I've noticed that the people who talk a lot usually aren't the people to follow.
Hmm.
Gotta look for the ones that maybe not necessarily talk all the time.
He kind of scratches his head a little bit. He says,
Well, I don't know. Rogers talks an awful lot. Ronald don't talk so much, but
I don't know what that is.
they help me. I help them. It's good to
It's
have
good
the ones that talk a lot around, eh? They can muck with all of that. Let me just be in peace until someone needs beaten to a pulp, eh? That's what I know.
well, you know, that's all good. That's all good for every now and then, but I do have to admit, it gets lonely every once in a while, and if you can't have somebody around to maybe call you friends, then what are you really doing? Took me a while, but they took me in, just like I'm sure you were taken in.
he kind of nods. He says,
You got your friends and I got mine. We're not doing too bad, eh?
and he kind of like nudges you.
Yeah, I nudge him too, and being like, we're not doing bad at all, friend.
He says,
Good. Sounds like, well, through all the other talk, sounds like the end of this is gonna be we're gonna have to supremely fuck some people up on our way out of a jail.
Oh, it looks like that. Hey, and then one big man to another, as he like kind of place like, I got your back and you got mine, right?
he kind of nods. He says,
Oi.
Fair is fair. And he starts chuckling.
Okay. And you guys kind of ride, ride along. You continue on your way. I'm gonna put this to you guys. I'm gonna sort of montage the next, like, fairly significant chunk of travel time. It takes you guys like the better part of a month to get back to the Nivian River, where you're gonna then like cross over and continue into Ignian territory. And then, even a little longer still as you begin to get to sort of the, like, what is now the no man's land, kind of this contested, uncontested space that, like, originally was the eastern territory of Mythlanday, but is now, like, kind of unclear, as the way that this, let me move the map behind me. The way that this kind of, like, this whole thing went down, Niveria fell, like, immediately in this sort of surprise attack. And the Ignian army, based, because of what had been done by the Brotherhood with, with all the stuff that kicked this off for you guys, the delivering of those false reports, the Ignian army basically just flooded uncontested over the eastern border of Mythlanday. Now, like, the Queen has assembled forces, and like that front is coming up from like the south, sort of like on the eastern border, and like a definite war front is forming there. But like as you guys move forward, like you are in territory that is theoretically under Ignian control now, but like by and large not much has changed day to day. Like you kind of travel unmolested through most of this territory. There is definitely, like, there are people on the road, there are refugees that are, like, moving west, trying to get away from, like, potential conflict, but a lot of the little towns and hamlets and things that you pass through have not been, interfered with, by and large. As you eventually make your way across the Nivian River and like move your way through this territory, there are definitely some of the larger towns where like they are under Ignian control. Like there are not Mythlindian soldiers patrolling the streets; there are Ignian soldiers. But it's a very odd situation, as like you haven't really crossed into the Ignian Empire's territory, but like You are in territory that is under the control of the Ignian Empire. Before I go too much further, Aylar, you had been sending a message, right? You were gonna
as per the sending spell. So wrote it out to make sure that I would stay within the 25 word limit.
All right, go ahead.
Rax, need to owe a bottle. Border hop, break into Estelgath. Need route and disguises for 8, 3 exotic. Word on Nella.
Okay. You sort of cast this spell off. You sort of feel the magic go. And there is a long silence. You, more and more, you begin to be nervously oh Christ, okay, where's, respond. And, just as you feel the magic about to, snap in that connection, you get a very, very brief message back. You hear the following. Mama Bear clear. Heat is on. Approach with caution. We'll see.
All right. Bad news first. Brax isn't in hotter water than I thought he would be, but still clear. We're gonna have to approach Vale with caution, but he's still loose. I imagine enough of his network's still there, so my plan's still on.
And your mother?
She got out. I haven't heard from her, but for all I know, the new Ignian pastime is probably shooting messenger sparrows out of the sky, so who knows?
Probably. That is good news. And just smile at Aylar and go back to writing in my journal, since it's nighttime and we're all chilling.
So, what I was saying before, what I'll kind of give you guys the opportunity on here. Consider you have over a month of just walking and riding and camping with these 3 people. Rogers, Rana, Carlisle. Carlisle, very much the sort of the conversation that he had with Alarius, but that is very much Carlisle's MO. He's really not that interested in getting involved in particularly deep conversations. He is much more you get the sense he just kind of waits for a very clear course of action to present itself, usually that course of action being do I need to beat the shit out of somebody? Yes or no? And then other than that, he just follows Rana and Roger's lead. Rana is extremely quiet, is not particularly sociable, does not will not seek any of you out to engage with you at any point, though is not necessarily opposed to engaging with you if you seek her out. Rogers is continually kind of annoying. He very much he talks a lot. He in a joking manner continues to bring up the fact that you guys beat him up and killed him one time over an artifact that you then gave back to a dwarf who put it in a hole, that type of stuff. Though that kind of thread continues, that the more you travel with them, the more you get the sense that this is a thing that he is doing intentionally. You specifically notice that he gets extra annoying and extra attention grabby whenever too much attention or Rana seems uncomfortable with an amount of spotlight.
Yeah.
You get the sense that these 3 characters, for all of their weirdness and quirks and annoying attributes, are extremely tight knit and care an enormous amount about one another. So sort of my question to you, like that being sort of a little bit of a cursory information about them, considering the fact that we're kind of gonna travel over, a huge course of time here. I don't necessarily want to have to play out full conversations and scenes.
Yeah.
But my sort of question to you to consider is like, how does your relationship with this trio change over the course of this travel time? Like, do you build up a rapport with them? Do you get more combative? Does Rogers like continue to annoy you to the point where like you guys are can't tolerate each other? Like, how has all of your relationships sort of changed with this trio? And like, whatever you guys kind of tell me, like, I will mold the attitudes of these NPCs to fit what you envision this relationship to look like.
I want, well, obviously me and the big guy, like, I don't think we're gonna be, like, I'm not, like, I would say it's not to the friendship level of, like, bonding that I think to, like, me and Brahm are, but, like,
Sure.
a good, like, a notable person as being, like, it is a friend in, like, war times, and
Okay.
it's, like, I care for them, and I'll look out for them, but it's not of, like a blood pact, like, not of like almost like a, I feel like more of like a brotherly bond with Brahm.
Okay.
Rogers is immediate. Rogers, I immediately am just like I want to punch that dude in the face, but like I'm not going to do it. Like it was just like he talks too much. Like
Sure.
it's like it's one ear out the other for me, and like I have a. I don't think I would ever try to get close to Ron, but like I'm just noticing of just like more of like people watching, and it's like if I could ever like get in like a certain space of like maybe when we're like sitting like maybe quietly by the fire some nights of just being like like noticing how they are and being of people watching of being like maybe just small gestures without any words, being like handing food or just being like you know just being overtly like kind of polite but like not opening up to conversation.
Okay.
That's how I feel like it would like probably progress for me, being like I have a general respect for everybody and like a little bit closer relationships, but Rogers I'm just like yeah he's fine but like I'm not listening. I'm not listening half the time.
I think after like the third day of Rogers bringing up the fact that we killed him, at some point, like
That's a
if
bald
Walter
head.
starts to pick up on he's doing it to like distract from Rana for a little bit, like I'll kind of like Walter would probably lean into it a little bit and just be like, I can undo the magic like anytime. Just let me know when you're done being alive. Or like
Yeah, we did it once. We could do it again.
You're nothing. You're
like
nothing but
like
a
on the
zombie
second-
butt puppet right now.
like
Shut up.
on the second week, I'll just be like, it's like he's like, you guys killed me once. It's like I'll just mold Earth a hole. It's like get in. Just
You ain't nothing but a zombie butt puppet. Shut up.
Yeah. When Aylor picks up Rogers, ramping up to take pressure off of Rana, something will occur to him, and that evening he'll contrive to take a watch with Rogers. He's going to place a belt with the holster that Aylor had the hand crossbow in, and he'll sit down next to Rogers. I noticed she draws with the same hand I did. Thought she might like it. And he'll just,
Okay.
turn to, watch things.
Okay.
also at some point, I'm pretty sure conversation would go into like who could win in a fist fight, Oz or I want to name
Carlisle.
At which point Walter will absolutely put like a copper on Carlisle just for funsies.
Okay. So.
Oh, he'll also ask Rogers, do you speak anything besides common? I'm always looking to pick up new swears.
shit.
Yeah,
Swears.
I have the
Meanwhile-
same.
I'm 13 and this is edgy. Ugh.
Meanwhile,
This
Matt is
is-
like, oh,
I mean,
lady.
you've heard Alar swear.
Meanwhile,
I know.
gotta
multiple
get,
Well,
character
so you
sheet
always
from-
He probably knows, like,
I've heard Alar say things under his breath. Whether I acknowledge that there were swear words or not, I don't understand.
well, he probably knows, like, they probably might all know, like,
I
what,
would know if you had
thieves'
subtitles.
can't or some shit like that.
Oh yeah, I know
I
they
would
know
probably,
that. Alar
yeah.
knows it too. But if they know something that he offhand doesn't know, he'll
I think Roger's only language is common, though he does know a little bit of Infernal. You learn.
Oh, okay. I
Specifically,
will,
actually, to your like specific realm of knowledge, just about the only thing in Infernal he does know is curse words and insults.
Well, that
he,
makes
can
sense.
teach you, he can teach you some of that.
That makes
then
sense.
yes, on the evenings where we do watches, I will trade my knowledge of his choice: Dwarvish, Elvish, Celestial, or Draconic, or any mix thereof.
He definitely he is extremely interested in learning how to say in learning how to call somebody a boner in Elvish. And once he learns that, he's extremely happy with having acquired that ability.
Then
I'm-
yes, I add a few infernal insults into my repertoire.
Real
Hold
quick,
on.
can we get a refresher on what their like races are, real quick?
Rogers and Carlisle are both humans. Rana is
Human.
a tiefling.
Tiefling? Okay.
Yes,
But
so
we also
Rogers-
know that her horns were broken off.
horns are broken off, and she keeps them
Yeah.
covered. She is also
Yeah.
covered. She keeps her most of her features covered most of the time. But you guys do know
Yeah.
that beneath the wraps that she wears, almost her entire body is covered in scars, carved in runic patterns, very similar to the tattoo patterns of arcane tattoos that Namara has. Rana has them too, except somebody literally gouged them out of her
Branded them.
flesh at some point, or branded them or something like
Yeah. Do we know if she has a tail? Do we see ever a tail?
that. You make anybody who's looking for that, I guess. Can
I mean,
make
I don't know if
an-
it's really I'm just curious.
I mean, what I would say is if she has one, she goes to great lengths to keep it
Great.
hidden.
And that's what I was expecting. I was like, so any of of tiefling kind of not intentionally of tiefling feature,
Her
trying to
skin has
keep
a little bit of a reddish hue to it, but not
Okay.
quite so intense as some tieflings have odd colored skins.
Yeah.
Her skin is such that if she keeps herself covered and wears her hood a lot, she can kind of pass for a human or an elf or a half
Okay.
elf.
Cool.
And
I like
in
it.
terms of tail, that's you probably
it's,
That's private. Don't ask about it.
Right.
yeah, pretty
Um,
much of being
Yeah.
if you're
I
keeping
guess-
everything else covered, yeah.
More directed towards Rogers and less towards Rana, but definitely directed towards Rana. Walter will definitely be curious about any curses they've interacted with or been afflicted with over the course of their travels, and generally giving hey, don't touch this instructions on if you happen to find this cool thing in a ruin, don't touch it.
Touch it.
But also it's
belongs in
extremely
the
valuable,
museum.
so maybe
okay,
sell that
anything-
information.
Anything from Zintrus or Brahms specifically with these two?
I was gonna ask
Just
this-
general demeanors really is fine.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same question as Alar, not so much about cursing, but as just languages. And if I can have the chance to have more watches with Rana than the others, I would take it to learn a little bit more Infernal, not just cursing. Just because I like to learn the languages.
Okay.
And then
You probably don't glean much more than Alar does in terms of languages. Not, where Alar is limited in that Rogers only knows how to say how to call people like a filthy cotton-headed ninny muggins in Infernal or whatever. Rana just doesn't want to talk to you that much.
Fair.
She is very hard to carry a conversation with.
Do we notice, or do I notice her and talking with Rogers or Carlisle at all, or is it
Yes,
just she just
she
doesn't
will.
talk? Okay.
She will
Talk
converse
to
with
them.
the two of them. She
okay.
does not have she
That's
does not display
fine.
much of an interest in like
Hanging
developing a
your gaze.
relationship with you guys.
I probably would, after having the first insight check of noticing him being like kind of guarding her, I'd probably just pay attention, not for any other reason other than I think it's kind of sweet that this guy who pretends he's a big old tough leader of this group, like, clearly has some soft emotions, and I just kind of smile to myself every time I catch it. But generally, just getting to know them all and not making a nuisance of myself in any way, trying to be helpful where I can be if they ask me for anything. But
Russell and Curtis are looking at each other in a way that tells me that Russell's about to do something stupid.
no, oh god.
This doesn't necessarily have curse words in it, but Crag is jackass in Orcish according to this book.
It's just because like Russell like pulled it like I saw
you
Russell
just-
with the
I
book.
was
I'm
shut
like,
forever.
talking.
All right, well, you Crag.
I gotta
What is your sort of like? What is the development of your relationship between
Alright.
these three individuals?
Not much. Brian's not a big fan of Rogers and the boys. Although at some point, I don't know if we're there yet, but we do have to handle the call from the pirates
Oh,
from
right.
last session.
That
I don't know
When
when that
Rowan
happens.
asked-
know what necessarily needs to transpire in this
got a call
specific
from the
session.
pirates.
Yeah.
The other party like used
Rowan
the
called-
mirror that you have to communicate between parties to like talk
Yeah.
to them, but like because of the way the sessions had like transpired and the time lapse in theirs, they were like a couple of weeks ahead. So like they essentially contacted you guys during what would have been like a week or so into your travel with Rogers and the boys, but like we hadn't done that yet, so I just kind of had to like tell them to leave it vague. I don't think there's anything new that like
I thought we said we had to do, maybe it was the next pirates we have to fill them. I don't know.
I think what
It was
what
in the
this is gonna
notes that
mean-
we had to do something.
The pirates will then have to be reinformed that like the full scope of that conversation indicates that like the Fool's Errant have linked up with this trio of individuals and are going to sneak into the Imperial territory and try and break into the Estelgath to like get somebody. I don't think anything like
They need to I think the only thing they need to recap is they haven't even told about Zintris yet, really. It's just been like a half joke. And then, yeah, the meeting up with the Rogers and the boys and leaving Terra Libra.
That's something we'll have
it.
to address with the pirates, but I don't think that changes anything
No.
for your guys' particular story.
Is there anything that I get from Rana from like just interaction wise from those like small
Yeah.
gestures over the few weeks?
So
of
here's
just
what
like
I'm going to have you guys do at this point to like, and
Okay.
I'll round out this part before we kind of move forward.
okay.
Based on sort of like what you guys have intimated that you're doing, I think an insight check is appropriate. I think Brahm is going to do so with disadvantage to sort of like represent his general disinterest in like engaging with them. I think
Insight check, is it?
an insight check.
Disadvantage for you.
I think the rest of
We're
you will
both
do it like
shitty.
with normal roll.
24.
9.
Okay.
18.
Well, a 5 and an 8.
18.
Okay.
12.
Okay. So Brahm and Walter, you guys kind of like you certainly get to know them and you become more comfortable like around them. You know, you develop the natural rapport of like people who travel together, but like I don't think any necessarily like deeper anything that you would call friendship necessarily is like developing between y'all. You know, Brahm, you are generally disinterested in that. Walter, you have threatened to put one of their members in the ground on multiple occasions. in jest, all that. But I think that's sort of like you're like water cooler buds, right? Like you kind of can exchange small talk and whatever, but like nothing really deeper evolves from that. Zidrus, Alar, and Osrius. I think you gain a little bit of a better understanding of this trio. It is clear to you that like something has happened in the past, and you don't know necessarily what it is, but it is you see something in the three of them that resonates. Alar and Osrius at least resonates for you guys with like the other members of the Fool's Errant. Zintra probably something that resonates with you with your past experience, in that like there is a certain level of like bond to each other that they have that only comes from like having gone through something together that has like forged that in a way that doesn't happen outside of like something pretty heavy. For a while, I think maybe there's some suspicions that like Rogers is like in love with Rana. But those insights were good enough that I think you guys kind of dismissed that after a while. I think you were able to kind of determine like there's not a romantic thing going on between Rogers and Rana. It is a deeply like platonic bond that they share. Like they are very important to each other. And I think you guys clearly determine like Rana, Osrius, I think you specifically, this resonates with you with that role. Rana is definitely dealing with PTSD. Like something has happened to her in the past that has like done irreparable damage to her psyche. And there are things that she is dealing with because of that like are struggles for her. And Rogers has very much taken the role of like an emotional support person for her.
Yeah.
That is very much their dynamic. Carlisle is like, despite the fact that he's like a meathead whose solution to everything is to like punch it until it stops being a problem, Carlisle is very much like a golden retriever. He just very much cares for his two friends. He develops a strong liking, Osrius, for you. And, as you guys continue to travel along and, like, active hostilities don't progress, I think, like, Carlisle begins to develop, like, quite a liking for everybody in the group. It just seems to be his nature that, like, anybody that is not actively hostile to him, like, he gradually becomes more friendly towards.
Makes sense.
You absolutely get the sense that the core motivation for all three of these guys is, like, the score. Whether it be like money, as was the first interaction that you had with them, whether it be, in this case, it seems like whatever score to settle Rana has in the Estelgath, like whatever sort of like the prize is for them is the top thing. Outside of like their loyalty to each other. That is not to say that like you get the sense that they are going to like betray you at the drop of the hat or anything like that, but like you do not like you don't rank as highly as like themselves or like their ultimate goals, and that is like something that I think you definitely glean from them during your travels together, and is something to be aware of as you progress with
it's them. Like, am I getting like we're pretty much getting is like they have like you're saying that it's like they have a point to like just for a score of like anything, but they do like we're getting the fact that they do necessarily have like an end game, like that. Yes. Like they're not gonna go on forever. Like they're clearly like doing something till it's like, and especially if they're messed up like to a certain degree like this, they can't do this forever, right? And it's like that's what we're getting to is like
I think they they definitely
like they have a goal, like but they're keeping it close to the vest. Yes,
and also like I think more directly relevant to this situation is like that they will work with you, and you can trust them like completely to be on your side and to work with you, so long as your goal does not interfere
Doesn't.
with them achieving their goal.
Yeah. So it's pretty much just like us. Like, it's literally almost to the same point of us. It's just being like, as long as we don't have a standoff,
Right.
then it's fine.
Yeah, so I think that's sort of like the long and short of it is like, so long as your guys' goals align, smooth sailing. If and when a time comes where like your goals no longer align with each other, it's a little tenuous. You guys have developed a relationship, but like you guys kind of know, and I think they get the same sense from you that like y'all's inner circle and y'all's own goals are like priority numero uno for each of your groups. So there's there's always a little bit of that tension there. So that being said, we kind of like montage through essentially like days and days and days and days and weeks of just fucking walking and camping and riding and camping and walking and camping. You head through Mythlindian territory to the east. You ford the river. You gain passage over the river. You're in the eastern portion of Mythlinday, heading towards Ignian territory. As I said, a lot of the small little like villages and hamlets and things that you pass through have not really been like upheaved by this conflict, as there wasn't much fighting that happened. The Mythlindian government was like manipulated into being well unprepared, and then the capital was struck in a surprise attack. So like the further east you get, the more it is apparent that the Ignian Empire, like the army, just marched across the border and like took over places. The fighting in any given little town or whatever was essentially relegated to whatever small amount of like Mythlindian peacekeeping forces were there, just got like absolutely slaughtered, and the Ignians took over. So you definitely do have some like brushes with Ignian military. It's essentially like soldiers who have been like repurposed as little town guards and things like that. There is absolutely a tension in the air that people, the people who live in this region are, either kind of like hunkering in place and extremely like cautious about who is gonna come out on top. What is this gonna mean for their life? There are certainly a lot of refugees heading in the opposite direction from you guys. You guys are heading east towards the Empire. Most people that you pass are heading west, the hell away from the conflict. And as you near the kind of end of your journeys, you start to get close to the opposing towns of Talmark and Vale. I think that's where we'll sort of like hone back in on the here and now progression. You guys are traveling as you have days and days pass, and you come across a group of people on the road. They all appear to be travelers and refugees, but they are like clustered and sort of stood off to the side of the road, and they are having a rather animated debate as you guys approach them. As you come into their view, and they start to notice you, the fact that you guys are heading east towards the Empire immediately causes them all to like clam up and like shrink back, and like they're watching because they don't know.
When Walter sees a group of people like that, he's probably gonna disguise himself to look like somebody slightly different.
Okay.
Just also to get rid of the creepy face.
What, like right in front of
generally.
them? You're just gonna change?
No,
right
before they like,
Okay.
if we see them first, I'm going to do that. If they notice us first,
That's
then
fine.
the jig's up. It doesn't
Sorry,
matter.
I missed that part. I thought you were like, oh, they're like reeling back and being like, I changed
No,
in
no,
front
no,
of them, being
I
like,
was-
no, don't do that.
Unfortunately, I was trying to catch it before that part was
No,
there.
that's fine. You absolutely like are able to do that. Sort of when you see you're coming up on a group of people, you disguise self, 100, 200 feet off, no problem.
Every time we've passed travelers, especially people going west and running away, Isintress is definitely keeping her hood up to cover her elven ears,
Sure.
because it's a little bit more obvious.
Okay.
Especially since we're heading east, she's like, oh crap, like, don't think I'm one of them, don't think I'm one of them, blah. But not taking anything, not being, acting any other way about it. I'm not using any spells or anything. I'm just kind of like, oh crap.
Alar's gonna give the group a quick look and see if he recognizes anybody from Rax's crew from.
Okay, make an insight check. Make a perception check.
Why do I bother rolling on D&D Beyond? 14.
Nobody you see there looks familiar to you. You're still far, a number of days out that you're not surprised that you don't recognize anybody. Are you guys just what are you guys doing? Are you riding past them? Are you approaching them in any way?
Well, you said they were like discussing / arguing. Did we
Yes.
catch any of the conversation about what the argument was about?
Make a perception check.
Okay.
Anybody can make this check if you'd like to.
I wasn't weird.
I've learned my lesson.
16?
Okay.
Dirty 20.
Okay.
Me?
Anybody who wants
If you want to.
Sorry?
Waiting for anybody else to make a roll if they want to.
Perception check.
21.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway.
Natural 20 for 20.
I don't know if Brom didn't make one or if I just didn't hear.
No, I'm not. I'm not making.
Okay. So those of you who are kind of like listening in, as you guys approach before they like spot you, you hear the snippets of some of the conversation, and there seems to be two kind of like factions in this little group here that are arguing with one another. And you hear one of them say like, "What do you have to lose? I've heard it from at least 3 people now. It could be a way out of here. The other option is what, to walk? How can you be sure that we'll get there? The army won't march through here any day now." And the other person says like, "Heard from who? Heard from who? And what proof do you have that this is legitimate? Sounds like a bunch of high imaginative nonsense to me. We're wasting time with this. We can't be following some who knows what off into the woods at a promise for what, a teleportation to safety?" And the kind of bickering goes a little bit back and forth between like a group which seems to be in favor of like pursuing some kind of rumor that there is like a way to safety that has something to do with teleporting, and a group that is cautious of that and wants to just like stick to the road and keep walking on foot. And then they like notice you and they all stop talking and kind of like gather off to the side.
I'm going to cast. Does anybody in our group seem particularly interested in that line of conversation, like visibly?
Interested, but not like, oh god, let's go find out.
Yeah. I mean, I hear
I'm
shit
intrigued
all.
about somebody offering people like to go in the follow me into the woods and let's do
Right.
magic and everything will be fine. That's creepy, but also his interest is like, we're going to break my boss out of prison, so like,
Yeah,
I've heard weirder shit.
Looks kind of interested, but he's thinking this is probably similar to the racket that they ran into on the river.
So I'm gonna cast message at like Alar real fast and be like, do you think this is something we should like pin for later? Do you want to try to get some information off these guys about the rumor?
Yeah, let's keep our ears open as we get closer to Talmark. I'm willing to bet there's why somebody started this rumor. I think it's another. I think it's another river racket.
Walter will message back again and say, "It's river racket or not. If there's an unused teleportation circle around here, it could save us having a nearby get out of jail free card. If we need to."
How far are we from Talmark and Vale?
Let's call it about another 6 days of travel.
From his knowledge of hopping the border, has Alar ever heard of a clandestine teleportation spot on the
Make a
Midlandian
history
side?
check.
before.
You are certain that you have never heard of such a rumor, and at least to your knowledge, there is no settlement, modern or otherwise, large enough in this area to warrant one.
I never ran into one during my time hopping the border. And if there was one that was off the books, Rax would know it. And he either didn't trust me with it or it don't exist.
Of the two factions, which one seemed like the most in favor of or the most like uncertain of the situation? Let me rephrase that. So as it seems like we're not going to stop for this, as we're passing by, Walter will pick the one person who's like kind of on the fence looking.
Okay.
Like not anybody that's clearly in a camp, but somebody who's kind of on the fence. And he'll like flick a message spell and say just Invarian trap, and then just continue riding.
Okay. So the general consensus is you guys are going to ride past. Okay. So you guys do that as you get kind of like within range here. And to the rest of you, like nothing really prompting this, a bunch of like chaos kind of breaks out, and the discussion gets like way more wound up. They continue to like like somebody like cries out, and then like you hear a bunch of like and then like the two sides begin to like bicker at each other again, very intently, specifically angled at like one specific person at this point, and you guys are kind of like riding around a bend as this breaks out.
Professor Chaos.
Okay.
Look, sometimes chaos can lead you to safety.
Alrighty. In that case, after that, nothing of any real consequence happens for the remainder of your journey, and you guys arrive on the outskirts of the town of Telmark. This is was a Mythlindian town, anyway. In the before times of this current situation, essentially Telmark sits just across a small like gully. There's like a little hilly area and a little like depression leading to like a sort of like a meadow across one major road runs across. At the far side of which sits another town, the town of Vale, which is the westernmost town in the Ignian Empire. These two small towns kind of like sit facing each other. The dividing line of the territory in between the two of them, marking the distinction between Mythlinday and the Ignian Empire. Both of these towns are larger than they might otherwise be based on like where they're located because of their like closeness to a town of the opposing kingdom. So they're fairly like well built up. Alar, you know Telmark and Vale very well. You spent a lot of time in this this region. You know that both towns have a like particularly beefed up military presence. Though immediately upon like coming into sight of the town coming out of like the Wilderness Trail and seeing it across the horizon, you can see that the Mythlindian banners are missing from Telmark's walls, and they have been replaced by the emblem of the Empire. You you are like your group is the only people heading. You're the only people on the road. Forget even like people heading in the other direction at this point. Like it is just you heading towards Telmark. You are completely alone on the road between you and this town.
Out loud, Walter's gonna like turn back towards Alar and be like, You think there's people back there from Talmar? Maybe we should have asked him something.
Well, we're about a week late to ask them that. All right, Rex. Heat's on. How would you play this? Where would you go? Would Aelard recall a fallback point or a hideaway spot that Raximus or his crew might use that's nearby? You know, a couple days travel at most.
Probably not. Raxus Thorn's whole thing is that, like, to all appearances, like, he runs a, like, perfectly legitimate commerce through this city. You know, he is sort of like a broker for like trade goods and you know, like mercantile organizations here. His sort of power base and you know, his network lies not in, like, you know, having like secret hideouts and like living in the underbelly and things like that. It is very much like hiding in plain sight, and you know, working through sort of subterfuge and the gaming of the loopholes and the exploits in the system that allow somebody to play by their own rules while not necessarily breaking the existing rules of whatever system of power he thrives within.
Alright, well. He's on, but he isn't one to. I wouldn't be one to abandon his position lightly. He's probably still in Talmark. Damn, I only had the one sending scroll. May have to sneak in to get a message to him. Problem is, every method I would use to sneak in is kind of screwed because there's nobody headed into Talmark.
I'm gonna like look over to Alar and like see him very clearly scratching his head on this one, and just be like, "You think we're wanted here?"
The Ignians? Month has passed since Naviria. Word's probably gotten back. Osrius? Definitely. Me? Definitely. Oh, by the way, should have mentioned this earlier. I do have a bounty on my head, you know, for some obvious things. Theft. Unlawful removal of property of the Ignian Empire. Translation, I've helped with a couple of slave breakouts. Impersonating an Ignian official.
So these are all misdemeanors.
No, all punishable with long jail sentences. Oh, and well, I don't have the mark itself, but I definitely have a death mark. There's an Ignian small lord that wants me dead for the death of his young child, which I did not do.
Walter's gonna like slowly point at Oz and be like, "You want to impersonate an officer again? Collecting on a bounty?" And I'll disguise myself as an Ignian officer real fast.
If I might offer some insight on the matter.
Oh God, you're still here. Yes.
Yeah, have you been in this region more recently than me?
No, Adrian pulled us from somewhere to the south. We were kind of out near Festenhaus, but
okay.
The point I would make is they can hang whatever fucking flags they want on the walls. That's a Mythlindian town. The people running there, the Ignians, they've been there for what, a month, 2 months? They're not. It's not business as usual within that town. They're a garrison kept behind. I doubt they've taken the time to swap out the wanted posters for the government of choice. I think we've got the element of fucking bedlam working for us here in
I'll just
no
dismiss.
Yeah.
Dismiss the disguise self.
Don't get me wrong, we're still gonna need some kind of story as to why a bunch of chuckle fucks are going into that town instead of away from it like all the other people in this region of the country, but
Sightseeing.
I'll disguise
maybe.
myself as the Ignian officer again.
I'm just saying, they're probably
I'm not married to it.
Like
It's
the
just-
group of you people as like wanted fugitives or whatever is probably pretty low on the checklist of things that the guys keeping the peace in that village give a shit about at this point.
Probably right. All right. Okay. We need.
So we go in. Don't make a fuss. If anybody asks what we're doing here, being like, well, everybody's running and we're coming in. And we're here to help.
Are you looking for a discount on housing?
We heard there was really good real estate here.
Recently vacated.
Aylar's gonna look back at the stuff that they have in the cart. Damn, I should have thought ahead. I got some trade goods, grabbed something.
Walter's gonna just pivot his head. Did you say trade goods? You have a certified official of Moxum Trading and Mercantile traveling through this area. Just because there's nothing in the trailer doesn't mean I'm not on official business.
Your business.
Walter, you're a freaking genius.
Never say that again.
Please don't.
Brom will smack you. I'm pretty sure he will.
Probably.
Brom was like,
That's when I start. That's when I start digging my own hole and being like, Walter, get it.
Okay, so Walter.
I guess everybody in the cart.
Yep.
No,
got
Got like 50 horses.
outriders and guards. Obviously, we have Stone Goliath. We have our large friend Carlisle here. We have a couple dangerous-looking folk.
I can
And,
curse at people, make them angry. I mean,
Walter's
that's
gonna
fine.
put his arm up real fast and just show the tattoo. If anybody has a makeup kit or something, just quickly put this M on real fast just to
I
sell it.
feel like so many sets of eyes just went towards Brom. As he said, does anybody have a makeup kit?
And also anything red and black, if you can trim us out real fast, Brom, please.
Scissors just appear out of
Errant,
nowhere.
Would you do it for a Brahmi
yeah.
snack?
Yeah.
don't ever say Brahmi snack to me ever again.
Yeah,
Straight
Aylar will
ups.
stick out an arm.
We all line up and to get tattoos from Brom.
Did I make a
Brahmi-
check
a
for
Brahmi
henna
snack is-
tattoos?
a Brahmi snack is a cigar and a like an eighth of
So-
Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eighth of Jack.
Cigar ash in your pocket.
Ice ball the size of a baseball.
Okay, so you are disguising Walter's mark, or you are giving everybody Walter's mark?
I'm giving everybody Walter's mark, not with the feathers, just with the regular
Mercantile?
standard mark. Yeah, the Moxum Mercantile.
Then I think Brom is gonna make a check with his disguise kit.
Do it. Do it.
How do I do that?
It is.
I think it's proficiency bonus.
Probably.
I think it's just
It's like a roll with your proficiency. Maybe.
Hold on a second.
Yes,
according to this, it lets you add your proficiency bonus for any ability checks you use to make a visual disguise. So if it's a dexterity check, it's dexterity plus
I'm gonna call this a D20. Deception is charisma, right? D20 plus your charisma plus your proficiency bonus. It's essentially a deception check.
Okay, D20 plus charisma plus proficiency bonus.
Sure.
Or just roll a deception.
Or just
It's gonna
roll.
be it's gonna be a lot.
If you're already
About to say, can you like not
Fun
even
fact:
fail it?
tool proficiencies in D&D 5e are stupid.
Yeah.
Don't make any sense.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Either that or I don't understand them properly. And
28.
I'm stupid. 28.
I was about to say, you
okay.
can't even fail it, can you? Like, what, you got a
bunch-
+8, +10?
I had a +8 and then a +4.
Yeah.
And I rolled
bunch
a
of
16.
Very, very convincing tattoo brands on the whole crew.
All right.
All right, you guys are my
Walter,
bodyguards. We're here for picking up some discount goods as Moxum ain't involved in this conflict, and we are here to do business.
Okay, Walter, you say exactly that when we get stopped by the guards.
We should not enter the city with anything in the open of any value of or any martial prowess that we do not wish to have confiscated.
Alar will stuff the magic sword into the bag of holding, as well as any other obvious magic item.
Didn't we put a secret box inside the cart at some point? Did we ever put a smuggle box inside the cart?
I have no idea.
I don't recall. us
I don't
ever doing
remember that.
Oh. Maybe we
For
just
my
put-
time.
Something that
Maybe
would've
we
been
just
a
put a
great
bunch
idea.
of stuff. Yeah, yeah. Can we quickly handcraft a smuggle box under
It
the
is.
cart?
But tell you what, it's something that Raximus might be able to pull off with a few days. But
Well, I guess weapons in the cart and
in magical weapons, standard stuff. If we're we have folks guarding things. So Osrius, the really nice axe, probably goes in the bag. Your other great axe, no, definitely hold on to.
Prepare to have it taken away if you leave it exposed. I agree we should not go in unarmed, but nothing should be visible to the Ignians that we do not wish to have confiscated.
I'll just put my shit in the cart if it's like going to be able to have easy access.
well, we have a
Like-
bag of holding, so yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna put it in the bag because I want easy access. I'm gonna need them.
Okay.
So I'll put everything in there as in to look like a prisoner, but you better be near me with that.
Oh, no, we're not.
Stack.
You're
You're
not a
doing
prisoner. You're a
prisoner.
bodyguard.
Yeah,
No, you're a
the
bodyguard.
point that Rana has made is that anything of any like magical quality, of any apparent value, of any like or like weapons, like Rana is fairly certain that they are going to search and relieve you of anything.
Okay.
Yeah. So she basically said like anything you do not want them to take from you when upon trying to bluff your way into this city, hide it so they can't find it.
All right. Then yeah, all of Alar's obvious magical items go into the bag, and he will then try to conceal the bag of holding among, their travel stuff.
Have a
I
lot
had
of
a- I had-
weaponry
I
or
had a-
anything, so I'll just
I
put
had a
my stuff
thought.
in Alar's bag.
I had
That's
a dumb
dangerous.
thought.
We all have our own individual bag of
You all have your own
We all
individual
do,
bag of
so-
holding. They
so-
do all
I
connect to
don't
each other.
have one.
Oh,
So it all connects to each other, and we have one extra bag.
Yes.
Nobody's
wanna
got an
do
extra
you-
bag.
Do we want to leave Rogers and the boys with the extra bag of holding? Put our stuff in the bag and leave them at the edge of town,
No, they have to
And
come
have
with
them-
us.
and have them dump it out. So, like, if they search the bag of holding, it's less of a problem. You know what? If they search the bag of holding, they're getting shot in the face, so it's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Roger's
So-
like, we'll hang out in the woods while you sneak it. I mean, we have to get in there eventually, but like,
Just swim through the bag of holding. That's
yeah, but I mean,
Actually, that's not a bad idea. If we
Would I
just
know
reach
if
in
that's
and be
possible?
like,
Wait, hold on. Would I know if that's
Wait.
possible?
One problem with that.
What?
It leaves a bag of holding sitting out here.
well, can they like?
I'm gonna
Can
pop.
they like reach and like pull it out with them? Like
I'm
somebody
gonna-
pulls their arm in and just.
Walter has
No,
something.
you probably can't pull a bag of holding through another bag of holding without like.
You
carrying-
absolutely cannot. If they go into
That's
themselves,
okay.
it destroys everything in like a 30-foot radius. It's a big problem. Anyway, we don't know that as characters necessarily, unless we've been warned.
You probably did get warned. Do not put one of the bags into the other bag. Like,
Is that
all
like a
of the-
black
all
hole
of-
kind of thing?
all of the things that will like destroy the bag itself and all of your stuff and all of you in the process. Like, you guys
it's a big
like
problem.
reasonable to say that you guys know of that. Like your Dinan did not give you these items without giving you like appropriate information about them.
In D&D
Tuck
lore,
a bag inside a bag, place your head between your legs, and kiss your ass.
I
goodbye.
feel
So
feel
I'm
like it's like in D&D lore, like splitting atoms. Like if you put a bag holding, try to pull a bag holding, it's just
Yeah.
like catastrophe.
So I'm going to summon Morgan, and I
Okay.
believe she is able to hold a bag of carry a bag of holding,
Weighs 10 pounds. I think Morgan can carry that.
fly it into town.
Yeah.
Into the sun.
So you're saying Morgan
And-
stays with
and-
the bag, and everyone
so-
goes through the bag?
I'm going
That's
to
pretty
bag.
sweet.
I'm going to bag tunnel.
I say we do that. That was my idea.
Yeah, Rod is like,
that was my
"Yeah,
idea.
we can avoid this whole thing if you have your bird fly one bag of holding in behind the city wall, and then we all just go through here.
Who's the smallest, and who wants to go through first?
Would I be
Think
the
of-
smallest?
Really?
It's Walter.
No, it's Alar. Maybe
It's-
Alar.
it's either Ale- it's
Aelor's
either Ale-
interest.
It's
Or-
Alar's interest or
Oh,
Rana. It's one of those three. Is
It's
probably the
true.
smallest.
Rana
Question-
is a team.
Question for the DM: would I, as a character, know if that is safe and possible for people to go through connected bags of holding?
We don't have time.
Connected.
Don't have time.
Just do it.
Splatter
time.
guts everywhere. No time.
You connected bag of holdings that share the same pocket
Network.
dimension, pocket space are not a thing that you would have familiarity with. This is a new thing on any of you that the Ordained
This is-
had
We're
hands
trying
on.
to new ground, baby.
What I will say is that like it is common
I'm
enough
excited.
knowledge that like there is a certain amount of air inside the bag of holding.
We
So
talked
like
about
there
this
is a
somewhere.
time limit on how long somebody can survive inside the bag of holding, which grows shorter multiplied by how many people are in there at once.
So this is one of those like crossing the river situations.
Look,
like
I
maybe
think
one
we're
of
overthinking this.
Let's just go for it.
I think
Yeah,
we can
we
just go
just
into town with our friends.
we conceal the bag among our stuff.
We'll
and
put our stuff away.
Damn it.
I shouldn't.
You
should
could
be
use it
fine.
as the escape out of the prison if we really want to play with
Okay.
it.
Either way, Morgan's gonna have the
A bag.
the extra bag. She
Okay.
will be hanging out in the woods if we're going into town directly. She will not be going in. She will go into town if we're taking the bag of holding wormhole attempts.
Okay, so the plan is to put all of your valuables, all of your magic stuff into the bag of holding.
Meanwhile,
Bags
a
of
bird in
holding.
the meanwhile a bird in the
So-
forest is
So
just
that is a question. You are leaving a bag with Morgan, which means you are
Um,
concealing 5 bags on your persons on the way in.
Do you want maybe do you want to just like we only need to conceal one bag, really.
Where are
'Cause
we
they're-
gonna
they're all-
bury? We
they're
gonna
all-
bury the other 5?
no. I say we go back to the wormhole thing, just so all of us can go in. Just so all of us can get in without having to do all this, while like having all of our stuff.
Secondary question about getting in, because like we have to get in, we have to get through. That's fine. How do
Big
you
egg way
expect?
too hard.
How do you expect to get the horses and the freaking cart through if this is how we're traveling?
Well,
Yeah,
did
that's
we?
the other
Did,
problem.
Shit, I did not think about the horses in the carts when we were talking about this plan earlier.
we just
that is
stashed them
unfortunate.
We're
somewhere.
sitting on our freaking horses right now, and you're all like, "Let's just go through
let's
a
just
bag."
all right,
We
you know what?
pushed
Okay,
them-
you're
we
all
pushed them
placed
through the
amongst
hole.
them.
If they
We're
died, then
here
they
to
died.
trade. We're just gonna go talk to these
Your
guys.
horse goes in first, Oz.
The,
Jeez.
Fine,
the
I don't
horses,
care.
you definitely cannot get the horses into the bag of
I know.
holding.
He puts the head of the bag over his
Osrius and
Oz couldn't
Carlisle
fit in
was
the
like
bag.
was like stretching the plausibility of it. The horses definitely are not going in the bags of holding.
Meanwhile, Carlisle
Alright,
is just
Alar's
like
going to grab
bagging
all-
it.
like, going to grab each of the bags of holding, and he's going to proceed to, after getting permission from the relevant parties, conceal them on a few people's persons.
Okay.
Sure.
So my sleight of hand check to hide the bags of holding. Do you want me to do it for each one, or
I think just make one, and then like they're gonna have to make another check modified by yours when the time comes.
so the sleight of hand check is a 27.
Okay. So I'm gonna give all of them. Anybody who has a bag is gonna get advantage when it comes to like concealing it if they are searched. So who
Sure.
has them?
We all do.
I guess
I have
we'll just
one.
We all do.
Yeah.
Zintris has one. Rom.
Are we sticking to Morgan having one as a possible escape route, or are we just nixing that at this point?
I mean, that would leave
stand
our
out.
bag. That would
Out.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would. And if we bring her in, that stands out. I would.
well,
rather-
no, she
Yeah,
wouldn't.
yeah.
She wouldn't be coming in. She'd be staying out in the woods.
All
with a
right,
bag.
then we'll just be concealing 5. So,
Okay.
Alar, Brom, Zintris, Walter. Does Osrius? Quick question: what kind of clothes does Osrius wear?
Like
Vito.
like loincloths, like type stuff, like very like
Okay,
barbaric
then,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
he'll conceal it in the in like one of the packs.
I'm going naked.
No. He was asking
No.
if it was possible to hide it
Your
on your
bag
person,
of holding,
but
not
she
your
had
Oh,
no
yeah,
loincloth.
yeah.
No,
that's
I
fine.
was right. Yeah, I was trying to conceal stuff on people's persons, but if you're not
Right.
wearing a whole lot, it's
Gonna
I'll
stand
just
out.
I'll just put it I'll just put it in like one of the pockets of like family ashes.
in
And if
nature's
anybody goes
pocket.
need it, then I'll know.
I don't think the bag of holding
Mm.
fits in your bag of ashes.
No, you probably like. I mean, I don't want to get like pedantic about like
No.
where people
We just
like
need to go.
like Osrius like canonically does have like a like,
Yeah,
leather
it's like a big-
boiled leather like chest thing. Like you can
Yeah, I get to shove it in there.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
okay. Then all right, then yeah, we're
Alright.
everybody's
Nobody-
carrying one.
Nobody's gonna reach up like 7 to 8 feet to be like, hold a minute, let me
Okay.
reach inside here. They're not TSA.
Then that planned. Also, all like magical weapons, magical stuff, valuable things hidden inside bags of holding, stored inside your persons. Rana puts her crossbow, though it's not magical. Rana puts the crossbow in the bag of holding. A couple of like magical items and trinkets and stuff come from Rogers and the boys, but they all have like a set of mundane weaponry that they are equipping themselves with.
Yeah, Alar breaks out his non-magical rapier and puts it on his hip.
I take out the gravedigger shovel stick. It no longer has a shovel head attached to it.
Sure.
She did say it would come in handy.
All right, you guys head for the gates.
Right. Walter, you're doing the talking.
You got it.
As you guys approach, we'll call it dusk. As you guys approach,
Perfect.
you head, down the road into the kind of like you're now in an open area leading between where the forest breaks and where the town of Talmark is. As you get like 3/4 of the way, the town definitely you are definitely spotted, and you see a little bit of like movement from around the town, and you see a pair of horses with riders atop them ride out towards you guys, and you meet like a football field's length from the gate itself. Atop those 2 horses are 2 Ignian soldiers. They are carrying like oil lanterns, which you would assume are more for like the benefit of, you know, any non-elven travelers than they are necessarily for themselves. They are on like pike things that they stick into the ground, and the more ornate of the two kind of like looks over the group of you and says, "What business do you have in this town? Are you not aware of the current situation with the war being on and all of this?"
Walter will kind of like horse forward a little bit and say, in Elvish, greetings, distinguished officers. I am of Moxham Trade and Mercantile, and we are neutral to this war at the moment. We are not taking any sides, but there is always opportunity for business, especially in times of crisis. And we are here to see if perhaps we can help keep this economy rolling, to keep everybody living here that's non-combatant, safe, and healthy. And wealthy.
Make a persuasion check.
Ooh, that's a 20.
A 20. They kind of look at each other, and the one who spoke says, "I was not aware that the Emperor had authorized any continued trade between any of Elon's mercantile organizations until his foothold had been secured in Mithlinde. On whose orders do you come here? Moxham? What authority has he in Imperial territory?"
He'll Walter will like tag his nose and say, "The early bird gets the worm after all. A little unofficial business before things conclude. Allow for greasier wheels, if you understand what I mean."
"What have you to trade?" And he kind of like looks at your wagon behind you.
What is it you need? We have contacts nearby, I believe, and we can certainly get almost anything right now. We're more establishing trade routes during the turmoil.
Points to your wagon. "You come with an armed guard of this size, and are you to tell me this is an empty wagon to this region? You claim to be representing Moxham Trading and Mercantile? Do you have documents proving your authenticity?"
Of course, and I'll pull out my my original Moxham writ that I have just always on me for this exact purpose. And I'll show them my my sleeve, my mark, and then I'll pull the writ and show them.
Okay. They look at they kind of like look at all this. You get the sense that like they believe your story, but they don't quite seem to know what to do. As like letting a Moxham like trade caravan through this border and presumably on into like Ignian territory is like not within the like parameters of what they were like told to be doing. So they kind of like back off a little bit, and you see the one that has spoken to you is kind of like conferring with the other one, and they seem to be considering. Anybody who wants to can make an insight check.
Ooh, it's a 19.
14.
12.
Okay.
18.
I'm just not paying attention.
All right.
Yeah. And all this is going on. I'm like, I'm just
Roll
playing
for
the part here.
Okay, Carlisle in character, on par for his character, gets a 2. Rana gets a 14, and Rogers gets a 19. So Walter, Zintris, you guys kind of like see these guys conversing, and you get the sense that like the sort of like uncertainty is coming to a conclusion that like does not seem to be going your way. It seems like Rogers picks up on this as well, as like under his breath you hear Rogers Rogers mutters, like sort of just loud enough for the group of you to hear, like, they're not gonna buy it. Change tactics.
Alar's going to...
bribe him or kill him. We're gonna
Yeah,
have to do
Alar's
something
gonna lean
different.
in. We have some Ignian royals. Now might be the time to use them.
I have a ton of them.
We have more Ignian royals than I thought. Make use of them.
So I'm
going to just, since Walter's the one that's dealing with them, I'm going to lean over to Walter and just hand him my coin purse.
okay. I'm gonna take that, and I'm gonna, like, while they're conversing, I'm going to like take the pouch visibly, and then just like dip a finger in, grab one, dip a finger in, grab two, and like squeeze them together. Grab a handful, and like just make the noise like I'm counting it. Like I'm not sure
Okay.
what I'm gonna do with this.
I purposely gave him mine to make it seem like I'm the one that holds the money.
Okay.
Like he's the chalker, I'm the one that holds them. Like a whole, we have a setup here. That's why there's all of us here trying to
Okay.
buy into this lie a little longer.
The one in charge kind of like notices you, and he and his compatriot like exchange glances, and you see them then like look back kind of towards the gate. You guys are far enough away from the main gate of the city that like the people, you know, who are at that distance, you know, anybody who's looking from there probably can't make out too clearly what's going on here. The two Ignians, like, they reapproached you guys, and the lead one, he says, though it is highly unusual that the London Trade Company would be attempting to cross the border at these times, as the decree has been that the Ignian borders are closed, I can appreciate an enterprising individual. You and your compatriots will have to be searched and relieved of all weaponry. As you say, you are carrying no cargo. That will have to be confirmed. If you mean only to establish trade routes, then I think it can be arranged to put you in contact with the no trade diplomat, who will be undoubtedly taking position in the Empire's newly acquired territory here. Perhaps this can be beneficial for you, and perhaps for the enterprising captain of the guard who made it possible.
Maxim does reward those who help him make him money, so I'm sure a small cut can, you know, be siphoned off to the side a little bit to help things roll along.
Yes. It matters. Once they are established, is beyond my area of expertise. And he kind of like moves up close to you, and he reaches out, and you have Zintris's coin purse in your hand, and he like goes to take the whole thing.
Yep. I'm just gonna let him have it.
Okay.
At this point, it's like,
So he
agreements
takes your money.
It's nice when things go smoothly.
He says, it is a refreshing change of pace to see that there are still people in this region who are not entirely hopeless as it comes to living in a civilized society. Says all of that is bound to change soon enough, eh?
Well, money is the wheel that keeps civilization turning, and I hope it does.
Comes in to the gates, you will be searched, and you will be admitted into the town. leads you guys onwards. That bag of coins like disappears into his armor, and he brings you to the gates of Telmark, where there are several other Ignians here. You see there are several of them in like the gatehouse above. The kind of like perimeter defense of this little town here has been well garrisoned. And as you guys ride up, several other Ignians kind of come out, and they look to this main one, and one who is even more ornate than the one that you guys talked to looks to the one that you had spoken. He says, "Sergeant, what are these people doing here?" And the sergeant says, "They claim to be operatives of the Maxim Trading and Mercantile Company. They wish to be admitted into the city in order to establish trade route with the Empire's newly established territory." And this individual says, "And were you not aware, Sergeant, that the Empire has declared its borders closed to all outside trade routes?" And the sergeant says, "Yes, I explained this to them, but they were very insistent that they should be permitted to enter anyway. They had no qualms about the Emperor's edicts." And the superior officer said, "This is then I will deal with this, whatever it is you have decided this is," and he gestures towards you guys, "bringing them to the gate later. For now, I will have to clean up your mess." And he like claps his hands, and he says, "Relieve them of their arms and armors, arrest them, and take them to the jail." And a bunch of Ignians like begin to descend on you guys. The dude who took your entire coin purse's interest has the biggest like shit-eating like look on his face as he backs up behind like the group that then surrounds you. And that is where we're gonna end the session tonight.
Mother,
I have an idea for next week. This
we
is
should
next
have done
time.
the wormhole. We should have done the fucking wormhole.
This is fine. This just means you get
This
to punch
isn't
more
fine.
people. You get to punch more people this way.
I want to kill them, not punch them.
Well, same difference. Oz
No.
punching somebody is death. It's fine.
I can cleave them, then I don't have to pull them apart.
It's a better workout. It's a better workout. You'll be fine.
No.
Alrighty, well, as that progresses,
This
thank you guys for joining me tonight. And we will be. I think we're gonna be off next week, as I am on the road. But then we should be back the following week. So I think our next episode is gonna be Fool's Errant again.
Yep.
And we will we'll continue this this little adventure here. That being said, thank you for joining me tonight, viewers at home. Thank you guys, my players, as always, and thank you to our sponsors, Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle. So I don't think I have anything else. We will catch you next time.
Naked and afraid. Sure. Maybe.
I don't have a sign off like I do for the pirates.
Now's not the time.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Bye.